Mark, welcome to Cal. Your arrival was obviously something that Cal fans greeted with a lot of anticipation, and man, there's just a lot of excitement around the program right now. So welcome here.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Great to be here. Really excited about it, and we've kind of put our heads down and we've run really hard for the first 2 months, and we've done some good recruiting. Still more work to do.
I know you've been running hard. It's hard to track you down. You're a very busy man. So wanted to do a little retrospective first of all. So you played at San Ramon Valley until '94, took a 2-year mission to Spain. And
Right.
how was that experience being overseas? And are you fluent in Spanish, or were you then?
Well, first of all, I loved my mission to Spain.
Yeah.
I had a great experience there. I would say I used to be fluent. Every now and then I try to bust out the Spanish, and the words don't quite come to
Un
mind.
poco.
Un poco, claro, un poco. Las palabras no se me salen tan bien como antes, pero intento hablar.
Not too bad. You can get by with that.
I can get by a little bit, but
So when you were a senior, or actually more than a senior, junior and senior, I think, Jason Kidd was here, and Cal was just on top of the world, him and Lamont Murray and Monty Buckley and those guys. What were your thoughts on the Cal program at that point? Did you go to any camps or go to any games?
I mean, really, my first, I actually went to practice back with that team because my first unofficial visit was to Cal. And so I remember being in practice and seeing a lot of those guys go up and down. Lou Campanelli was the coach. There was a coaching change midway through the season. But, then my recruitment kind of fell off a little bit after the coaching change. But grew up, obviously just following that team. We had a dunk contest at San Ramon High School back in the day. Lamont Murray came out
What?
and judged it.
No, I was going to say, did he throw any down?
No, he was just sitting there. He was just the judge.
Okay.
Lamont was the judge. But it's funny, he and I were texting about that the other day, and he came out and judged it, and it was just fun.
Nice.
It was really fun. There was so much excitement and energy towards Cal basketball, and in particular, that team.
Yeah. So you came back from your mission and you played at Stanford for 4 years, went to the NCAA tournament every year, went to the Final Four,
Right.
All-American 2 years. Do you kind of envision Cal being in a position where they're a perennial NCAA team and maybe in position to make a run here and there and have some guys get national notoriety like that? Is that your vision?
Yeah, 100%. Well, 100%. You look at the history and the players that have been through the Cal program, you look at the success that Cal basketball has had, and there's no reason why we can't replicate that. There's no reason why we can't get back to where some of those teams have been in the past and hopefully go even further. But really, it's an unbelievable foundation of basketball alumni, of basketball tradition, and also just of a university itself.
So you ended up being drafted by the Lakers, playing there 3 years, and then playing 6 years with the T-Wolves. A lot of great stories around you and your interactions with Shaq and trying to go up hard against him in practice, which probably was almost impossible because he's so massive.
Right.
And Kobe's work ethic and how that rubbed off on you. What did you take away from that time in LA?
Well, I think I took away a lot of things. I mean, first and foremost, you have the memories and the relationships. And obviously, Kobe passed, and so that's, that was a time of great reflection. I was emotional off and on during that week in particular after Kobe died. I remember when he did die, I was reaching out to former teammates where we all played together, just checking on each other, and it was a sad, emotional time. I was getting ready to fly out to the memorial at Staples Center. My flight was Monday morning at 6 a.m. It was the middle of our season, actually. I think it was my first year. It was my first year at Utah Valley, and my wife was pregnant with our second child, and I said, just please tell me the baby's not coming tonight or tomorrow. She said, there's no way. So I went to sleep, getting ready to leave on the 6 a.m. flight, and that was the night that she gave birth to Roy, and so obviously I stayed, and I missed the commemorative event to celebrate Kobe's life. But it's strange. Hannah pointed out to me that Roy was born on 2/24 and on 2/24, and that was the same day that obviously very meaningful day for in Kobe's life, meaningful numbers. I've only had one other experience like that where things kind of came together in a strange way like that. basketball-wise, but it has meaning to me.
Yeah. And then you played with the T-Wolves, and there was one story that Cal fans loved about how, you were signed up to, your name was on a camp, and, you're like, well, when do I show up? And they're like, well, you just come like Wednesday, come for an hour, sign some autographs, and you're good. And you're like, no, my name's on this. I'm here every day. Yeah. Was that really gratifying to see the kids' reaction and the parents' reaction? Because they're probably not used to that.
Doing camps in Minnesota was a lot of fun. I mean, number one, we were winning early on. We had some great teams at the Timberwolves. I'll go back in time a little bit to the Lakers, and I was sitting with Robert Ory, and Robert said to me, he said, if you ever do a kids camp, don't be the guy that just shows up for 10 minutes to speak to the kids.
Good advice.
Yeah, I mean, he said, if your name's on the camp, you're there every day. And so I took the advice. The first year we had 40 or 50 kids. The second year, we had 180 kids.
No coincidence, I'm sure.
Well, it went well, and you get signed shoes from NBA players. You give it out as prizes. But I remember our camp director came up to me and he said, "Hey, I just got a death threat because a parent came with a child, and I said we were out of space." And he threatened to kill him.
Oh, no. Wow.
and so, bad the death threat happened. It was good because it meant the camp was meaningful to the community.
Very popular, obviously. They mean business.
Yeah.
So you went right from there into coaching in the D-League with the Utah affiliate, and then you got to be head coach with the D-League for Lakers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was hired as the head coach for the Lakers D-League team, and then before we could actually run the draft.
Oh, you didn't actually do it?
Yeah, well, they moved me up to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you spent a year there in the staff, and then you became a bench coach.
Yes.
What was that experience like for you transitioning into being a bench coach for your former team in the NBA and the show?
It was amazing because to be able to, first of all, to be back with the Lakers was incredible. To be able to have played with Kobe early in his career, and then now to go back and to coach Kobe was just an experience that I'll hold on to. I mean, when I was teammates with Kobe, it was there were times when he got after me. There were times when I played well when he was celebrating with me. As a coach, we sat on the plane a few times just talking X's and O's and going back in time to the different NBA finals and the adjustments that Phil made and the insight that Kobe had along with that. So just some great times there.
Yeah. And then you got to your head coaching position at Utah Valley. What was the transition like running your own program?
It was great. I'd always wanted to be a head coach. Came into Utah Valley, the hiring process was at the time when it was, and so when I got there, several of the top players had already transferred, had already either left or they were in the process of leaving to transfer, and then building a program up after having a little bit of an exodus of players was just a really great experience. It taught me a lot, building a staff and then improving every year.
You really were able to put your stamp on it, bringing your own guys in, just like you're going to be able to do here.
Yeah, exactly. And learning the transfer portal. That's one of the biggest things that was different from when I was an assistant coach at Stanford to now as just the prominence of the transfer portal.
Yeah. Well, you have been asked plenty about the angle about going to your rivals to coach, but Monty did the same thing.
Yeah.
Coached at both with success. Jared Haas is a former Cal player, so I think you get a get out of jail free card. I mean, the trail's been blazed both directions. So
yeah, no, I mean there's a lot of crossover both ways. There's a lot of crossover both ways. I mean, I think what's kind of interesting is, I mean, I grew up 20 minutes from here, but I didn't really show this at the press conference, but my brother-in-law, he got his PhD from Cal.
Oh, nice.
So my sister was here for a while. I grew up going to the Lawrence Hall of Science week-long summer camps. I'm pretty sure those are affiliated with Cal.
Yeah.
So there was definitely some and, a lot of cool connections with Cal, and it's really great to be here. Go Bears. Yeah.
So it's clear that things have drastically changed in the last few months. We went from a situation where the program was essentially at rock bottom to one where there's a lot of hope right now. Yeah. And it feels like to the fans that it was necessary to hit rock bottom to really get full buy-in from the athletic department, the administration, fans, donors, everybody, because incremental change from 3 and 28 or 29 was not going to cut it. I don't think there was really an appetite for fans to see a slow build to 7 wins to 8 wins to 10 wins, and you've came in and reshaped things totally. You're getting a lot of support from the athletic department with increased budget. You get a big staff that Cal's never seen before. Donors are coming on board for the first time in some years. Can you talk a little bit, first of all, about the staff situation? You're able to bring in some extra assistants, non-recruiting assistants that the NCAA is allowing now, but Cal has not had before. Can you talk a little bit about what those rules are and what their functions can be when you've got bench coaches versus non-recruiting coaches?
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, you're exactly right. The NCAA is allowing 2 new positions, basically. Staff members that the only thing that they're limited on, essentially, is doing off-campus recruiting.
Okay.
And so they can do a lot of recruiting from on campus, phone calls, Zoom calls, letter writing, texting, all those things. And so
the real meat and potatoes.
I mean, really, it's a lot of it. And
yeah.
so they can do a lot of that. And we'll split up their responsibilities similar to the way an NBA team would. Every coach will have certain areas of expertise, certain lanes that they'll really focus on, and we're gonna have a great season. And a lot of it is because of this staff that we've built. We've had some really good and strong recruiting successes. Our staff works incredibly hard. Our staff puts in long hours here at the office, at home, weekends, visits for recruits, and a lot of those successes that we've had recruiting are a direct correlation to our staff.
Just in broad strokes, can you talk a little bit about the specialties for each of the guys?
Yeah, 100%. Let's start with our associate head coach. Adam Azari, he goes by Maz. Tremendous experience. He's been in the NBA for 6 years. I knew him our paths crossed when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies. And then he went to Vanderbilt with Jerry Stackhouse. And, he really helped Jerry. He worked closely with Jerry on the offensive side of the ball. And if you look at the offensive efficiency for Vanderbilt over the last 3 to 4 years, I believe they've been top 100 in terms of offensive efficiency 3 out of the last 4 years, with the 3 most recent years consecutively.
Okay.
That's very hard to do. That's extremely, extremely hard to do. And Maz was a huge part of that.
All right.
Amara Morgan, really, from a defensive, I remember when he and I were doing our initial Zoom interview, we got to defense, and we shared our screen and watched a lot of tape together, and he was talking about some of the most advanced defensive concepts, not only some of the most advanced, but some of the most effective defensive concepts, and some new ones that I was not aware of that had really helped the success that they had at Loyola of Chicago. Amaro is someone, there's not a basketball person in America that doesn't have Amaro's number, and he doesn't have their cell phone number.
Impressive.
It's impressive. It doesn't matter if it's California, New Hampshire, Arkansas. If a player goes into the portal, if there's a high school player, I say, Amaro, do you have any connection to him? And literally in almost every situation, Amaro said, yeah, give me a second. Yeah. It's incredible, the depth of his relationships, in this business. Matt Shabinsky, he's been an associate head coach at Central Arkansas. They had some of the best success that they had in a long time with Matt there. Then he goes to Texas Tech, really helps to build up that roster. Matt is also a tireless recruiter.
You hear his name come up a lot with these AAU guys.
Oh, Matt knows everybody too.
Yeah.
Where Matt will come into my office and say, hey, here are 4 players that you need to watch film on right now. And they're always incredible players, but not only, these aren't the players that we're aspiring to have a connection to. No, Matt's talking to them already. And we have a foot in the door, and we're working on recruiting them.
Usually good recruiters like that are grinders. Is he always on his game with recruiting?
Yeah, Matt's always on his cell phone.
Yeah.
Matt's always on his cell phone. He's always texting or calling a recruit or an AAU coach or some high-level international prospect or agent.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ken Moses. So Ken was with us at Utah Valley last year, and he came over to Cal. So Ken and I were together 1 year at Utah Valley. Before that, he was at Montana State, and we had an opening. And so I called Montana State, and as you do your due diligence, Montana State had the best season they had in like 100 years. And so in talking to Danny Sprinkle, Danny said, yes, Ken has been a huge, huge part of that success. Then I called the players that Ken had worked with, and they were unbelievably impressed with Ken's professionalism and his knowledge of the game. And so that shined out also at Utah Valley. Ken brought suggestions, ideas on X's and O's, different things that had a tangible effect on winning important and key games for us at Utah Valley. So it's great to have Ken aboard. Jared Jackson. I mean, Jared has done a lot of different things in his coaching career already at a young age. He's been at Texas Tech. He's been at University of Texas Arlington. He's been at Coastal Carolina. Jared and I worked together 3 years at Utah Valley. And, it's Utah Valley had kind of had a little bit of a drought in terms of winning a WAC championship. And so it came down to, we were playing at Grand Canyon. It was during the pandemic year. And if we won both games, we were the outright champs. If we split, we shared the championship. If we lost both, well, we came in second.
That'll
So Jared came into the office. It was his scout. And said, Coach, I think we should do, and he named a defensive principle. I think we should do this against Grand Canyon. I studied the film too, and I didn't have that in my notes, and I was nervous. I said, Jared, I don't know. But he showed me the film, he showed me the analytics, and we went with it, and we almost swept Grand Canyon. We ended up splitting. In a good, hard-fought battle. And Jared, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget, his contribution there. Yeah. And so from the basketball coaching perspective, that kind of rounds out the staff on the coaching side.
Now on the player side, obviously this is going to be a very new roster, 5 returning players and then a bunch of guys coming in through the portal. I think there's 5 locked in right now. Can you talk a little bit about that group? Fardaz, Jalen, Keontae, and Mike?
Yeah. Let's start with Mike Meadows. Mike's a guy who has the potential to be an explosive scorer when needed. He had close to a 40-point game last year in the WCC against Santa Clara. He's a great mid-range shooter. He's a really, really strong three-point shooter. He can run a team. He can run a team from the point guard or from the combo guard position. And he's just a great locker room leader. When you speak with him, you can just feel the leadership. You can just feel it. And in addition, I know a lot of people that know him well, so we're really excited about Mike. Let's talk about Keontae Kennedy. Keontae is so Memphis is coming off a strong year. Keontae was a huge part of that. When Keontae had an injury late in the year, and that hurt Memphis when he went down. Keontae, oftentimes at Memphis, would guard the other team's best player. He's a guy who can chase shooters. You can throw him onto a point guard. You can throw him onto a bigger player. He gets steals. The fan base is going to see Keontae get deflections in passing lanes, go down and dunk on somebody. He led the AAC in three-point percentage last year.
Nice.
About 43%. And so Keontae's just a really, really well-rounded player who can do a lot of different things. Let's talk about Fardaz Amack. I had him at Utah Valley for 3 years. Fardaz is a true professional. Fardaz, a lot of times big guys, they're not as concerned about their body because they're down there banging, a couple extra pounds here.
That's not Fardaz.
No. Fardaz is meticulous about every part of his game. We had a good win against BYU at home 2.5 years ago. It was an overtime game. Fardaz played 44 minutes out of 45 minutes.
You don't see big men do that very often, right?
Well, what big guy can do that?
Yeah.
And he wasn't just out there playing. No, he was playing at a high level. Fardaz redshirted with us at Utah Valley for a year, then he played. And after that second year, he said to me, Coach, will you let me shoot threes next year? And I said, Doss, you've made them in practice. If you put the work in, if you shoot a great percentage, absolutely, you can shoot threes next year. Well, he led our team in three-point shooting percentage that year.
Wow.
On about 45 attempts, I think he shot about 43%.
Wow.
And so it wasn't as high last year. He was playing hurt at Texas Tech, but Fardaz can shoot the three. What he can do in his sleep, Fardaz can roll out of bed in the morning, and he can just suck in defensive rebounds, like bees would go for honey. I mean, that's Fardaz, and he's got a strong post game. He's a good passer. He does a lot of things. Jalen Tyson. Jalen's a guy who has great size. He has a playmaking ability. He can shoot the three. You look at his efficiency last year in the Big 12. his efficiency, Jalen Tyson's efficiency in one of the best conferences in America was off the charts. In terms of shooting, in terms of the free throw shooting, the finishing, and then the rebounding side of the ball. At one point in conference play, Jalen Tyson as a wing, as a guard, as a wing, was in the top 5 or 6 in defensive rebounding.
You don't see that.
In the conference.
Yeah.
And so here you have a guy who can put the ball down on the deck. He can dunk on you. He can rebound the ball. He has the capability to make 6 threes in a game. He's a weapon. He's a matchup problem. He can go down to the post. And so we're really excited about JT.
He's scrappy too, right?
Oh.
Does he get under guys' skin kind of like Jorge used to do here on the Cal team?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so we're excited about that. Jalen Cone. Jalen is an explosive.
That elevation is crazy. With jumpers.
The way Jalen Cone plays the game is the way the game is meant to be played. Jalen is an extremely efficient three-point shooter. He shot 40% from 3 on heavy attempts, which is what you want to see. He's a volume shooter in the sense that he can get a lot of shots off, but he's highly efficient doing it. So sometimes you see a guy who gets a bunch of shots up. He doesn't make too many. Jalen's efficient. We played Northern Arizona twice last year, and so we're very familiar with Jalen Cone, and we're very familiar with the fact that, if you look at NAU's record last year, if you really look closely, they were a few bounces of the ball away from, being right at the top of their conference. And I only know that because we did the scouting work, an overtime loss here, a loss by 1 there. And so Jalen Cone is going to be huge for this team. The fans are going to love him. He has the textbook, picture-perfect jump shot. One thing about Jalen Cone that the Cal family probably doesn't know about is he wears cowboy boots at times. He loves country music. Wow. And, he's not afraid to just enjoy life.
Yeah.
To just enjoy life.
He was a great interview. It was really fun to talk to.
Yeah.
And then you've got a couple of freshmen coming in. Do you have much of a handle on their games?
Yeah. Obviously we've studied film on Rodney Brown. Obviously a wing player, can probably play some point if needed. Length, ability to score it, can get his 3-point shot off against, with his size and length. He has the potential to be a really big time player as he adjusts to this level, and I think that adjustment will happen quickly. And then Devin Curtis, shot blocker, 6'11", close to 7 feet, can step out and shoot the 3, can block a shot, can clean up defensive rebounds, and so we're excited about both of those players coming in. And
a little quick synopsis of the 5 returning guys.
Yeah, let's start on the front court. Grant Newell, obviously the all-freshman team here in the Pac-12, a guy that can finish, obviously at the rim through contact. Had some games where he made some big threes. And in our spring workouts, he also shot the ball extremely well. Grant's someone who is always in the gym working. He's working on putting the ball down. He has the ability to play on the perimeter. He has the ability to switch on to point guards defensively. He's got a post game. As we worked through things during the spring workouts, Grant was someone that really embraced all the footwork that we were showing. And so I'm very excited about Grant.
Well, he's got the right name for the footwork with Newell.
With Newell.
Yeah. Did you ever work with Pete Newell? With the big man camp?
Yeah. I flew out to the big man camp too.
Yeah.
I was out there.
And he was renowned for his footwork.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. And so then you got Andy Okafor, strong, tough, intense, physical, really good defensive rebounder, can knock down his free throws, can run the floor. I would say that, on the defensive side of the ball, if you look at ND is a great shot blocker. Not just a secondary shot blocker coming over from the weak side, but also a primary shot blocker. There's a lot of film a lot of his body of work last year, the guy he's guarding is going up, and he's blocking the shot.
Do you ever envision him and Fardos playing at the same time?
100%. That could absolutely happen, especially against some of the bigger teams, like in Arizona, like some of the teams that have 2 physical, strong bruisers at the 4 and the 5.
Okay.
Moving to Devin Askew. I think Devin is really probably one of the best passers on the team as it stands right now. He has the size to see over defenses. He can really deliver that ball. Good mid-range game. Obviously can take a guy down on the post and score it. Shoots the ball well from three. Obviously, Devin has the ability to do a lot of things on the court. And so I'm very excited about Devin.
And then Monty.
What's that?
And Monty.
Yeah. Monty, we got with Monty Bowser. I think, if you look at the latter portion of the season, I think Monty really came on.
Seemed to develop some confidence when his shots started falling.
Yeah. I mean, Monty is, they say in the game of basketball, the mid-range shot is a lost art. Monty knocks that down. I mean, he can knock that down. I've told Monty really over the spring, I said, Monty, your jump shot is beautiful. If anything, shoot it more. And shoot it more from three as well. He's got a great stroke, great attitude, and very, very excited about Monty. And then Jalen Celestine. Jalen Celestine is strong shooter. He's got a big physical body. We'll be able to put him down on the block, if needed, and he can stretch you out to the 3-point line. He's got a great feel with the basketball. Knows how to use his body to shield the defender. And he's really worked hard on his rehab to get to a point where I think he's going to be 100% healthy very shortly.
Yeah, that'll be real helpful. I mean, it's tough. It's tough earning minutes. It's tough getting developing a consistent rhythm when your body's just not 100%, as you know. Yeah. So obviously, Cal fans are really excited about what this team's going to do this next year, and you've talked about the biggest turnaround in history. And when you're starting at 3 wins, that's a very attainable goal if you get this team playing really well.
Jim, we can do it. We can do it. We have the pieces here. We're going to have to play well. We're going to have to win some of the close games. We're going to have to be good on the road, which this team can do. But we are going to have a great year. We're going to have a great season. The Hospital Pavilion is going to be rocking, and the fans are going to be excited about the style of play and the players. Speaking
of the style of play, what's the special sauce that you see getting this team potentially to the tourney?
Well, I think what we really tried to do is from an offensive standpoint, we're going to open up the court. There's going to be more space with having multiple shooters on the court.
A lot of scoring threats.
Yeah, a lot of scoring threats, and I think there's going to be times where we may have 5 guys on the court that are 40% three-point shooters.
Unheard of.
Yeah, that lineup is there. That lineup exists.
Yeah.
And if, as it's the more shooting you have, the more space you have, the more ability you have to finish at the rim, draw free throws, and make your teammates better.
And on the defensive side?
Defensive side, I mean, it's, the basketball world is going to switching 1 through 5. We'll do that. We'll do that at times. We'll switch 1 through 4 at times and ice with our 5. We've got the hard show, in the menu. We've got the blitz in the menu. And then we got some different zones that have been really good to us over the years.
You going to run a lot too?
Yeah. Throw-aheads. We'll really preach throw-aheads. Now, to throw ahead, we got to be in great shape. And that's one of the messages that I've really been preaching to our players is, hey, don't come in mediocre shape. Let's come in really good shape over the summer. That way, when the season starts, we're in phenomenal shape. And then now we can outrun our opponents and really get out and get some easy baskets.
How's their base right now?
The base is good. I mean, look, I don't know yet with all of them because right now they kind of have a month off.
Yeah.
With the NCAA, they're pretty restrictive in terms of when and how much we can work with the players. So the off time that the players have is right now. We will start at practice June 12th.
Okay. Great. Well, appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. You guys are nonstop and looking forward to getting back on the court in November.
Yeah, well, Jim, thanks for coming out. Really appreciate you. Appreciate Bear Insider and just the interest that all the fans have in the program. And, appreciate everything.
And we've got to wrap up with another Go Bears.
Go Bears.